Hello and welcome to the first of two videos I am making for the upcoming elections. My name is Mike Van Boekel and I'm seeking your support in the upcoming elections for the position of plant chairperson. For this video, I'd like to talk about what's happened over the past few years up until now. In my next video, I would like to discuss the future upcoming bargaining, what's going to happen on October 1st when our current two-shift agreement expires, and also look into the crystal ball a little bit and try and predict what's going to happen over the next 2 or 3 years. But now let's go back to 4 years ago in March of 2020. That's when COVID first appeared and became a global pandemic very quickly. A lot of people have commented that we maybe should have gone back to purifying the layoffs back in March already at that time. In March of 2020, no one knew what COVID was or the dramatic effect it would have across the world in many different areas and how it affected everybody's lives. We went down almost immediately, as did almost every other business in the world, and we stayed down for 10 weeks. After 10 weeks, we actually came back to the plant and got going again slowly, but eventually on 2 shifts. But it didn't last long, as our next issue, the semiconductor shortage or chip shortage, really affected us. Anything that had a computer chip in it, such as phones, appliances, but especially the auto industry, was hit hard. Suppliers kept telling us it will be fine in a month, it might take 2 months, but 2 months dragged on into 6 months, and that eventually became a year. That got us to about 2 years ago when GM totally shut us down and we completely retooled the plant. Our entire membership, or by and large, were shut down for about 6 months or laid off for 6 months. And then we started back up again with the BrightDrop. This should have been great news, $1 billion investment, and normally after a launch, everybody's called back to work and they try and make as many as they possibly can, get them across the lots across North America, and hopefully sales take off. But once again, our membership was hit hard as we could not get part supplies, specifically batteries. What started off as a quick launch slowly went down, and we began a 6-week rotation. We made an agreement with the company that the top 400 could work full-time, the same as if we had purified. Out of those top 400, approximately 260 people agreed to work full-time, opening the door for everybody else to rotate. Most people were involved in a 6-week rotation of 2 weeks on and 4 weeks off. It was a long way from ideal, but it kept everybody active and everybody at least was getting full wages right to our junior person for a third of the time. Again, it wasn't perfect, but we had hoped over time batteries would come on board and we would start picking up. Eventually we found out though that we were only going to remain on 1 shift, so earlier this year we asked our members to take part in a vote. Approximately 90% of our members voted, and they voted almost 80% to continue to rotate. But with all the retirements we had, and with the battery plant starting up, we were able to go to 2 shifts, and most people are now working either 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off or full time. It's not great, not by any stretch, but it goes right now until October 1st when the agreement expires. But during all this downtime, especially the last 2 years, a silver lining did appear. GM started looking for a place to build batteries to supply our plant. That led myself and our bargaining team into some very heavy talks with GM, and we were able to land the first battery plant in Canada. Not only that, we became the first unionized battery plant in North America and the first battery plant to have their membership combined into one with the battery plant and formed all under one contract with the same members. It should allow over 200 of our members full-time work in the battery plant, hopefully 6 or 7 days a week, and also give some of our skilled trades a chance to shine and show off their skill and ability with some of the latest technology that there is. GM has put almost $2 billion into our plant. GM is here to make money, period. The way they make money is by running. Our goal will always be to get to 3 shifts, but right now our immediate goal is to get to 2 shifts and get everybody working. That will hopefully happen in the next few months. Our bargaining committees have always thought outside the box. In 2013, myself and our bargaining committee made it a priority to eliminate the SWE language. The SWEs were considered the new hires back then at CAMI, and CAMI was taking full advantage of these members. We made it a top priority to eliminate this language, and we became the first auto plant in Canada to eliminate it. 2 years later, the Detroit 3 followed our lead and eradicated the SWE language from all contracts. Also in 2013, we took a run at our IMP fund. That's our Income Maintenance Protection Fund. When I first became chair, that fund was at $40 million. In 2013, we raised that limit to $190 million. And in our next round of talks in 2017, we added another $100 million to make our fund $290 million, by far the highest fund of its kind in any plant in Canada for the auto industry. It's insurance for our members, and it makes it extremely hard for GM to close our plant in the future. Along the way, we also came up with the Bank Time program. The Bank Time program allowed our members to take some well-deserved time off in the years for about 8 consecutive years when we were working every single Saturday. The Bank Time still exists and likely will come into play again in the future, especially in the battery plant. Last fall, some of the big 3 plants still try to get the Bank Time programs implemented in their facilities, and they still cannot negotiate that. We remain the only plant in Canada and in North America in the auto industry that has a Bank Time program. I'd like now to talk about what I've been involved with over the last few years. Over the last few years, I was elected as Vice Chair of both GM and Auto Council. That's a very important seat on both executive boards of both committees, because it gives our members a chance to hear and say what's going on and a voice at the executive table. So we get first-line knowledge of what's happening in the industry and what is likely coming down the road for our membership. Recently, about a year ago, we started Friday 7 a.m. meetings for the entire implant and all specialty reps. Every Friday morning at 7, every rep's invited to a meeting, and every rep is expected to give a report on their zone, or if you're a specialty rep, an update on what's going on across the entire plant. It allows all reps to get a firm understanding of what's going on in every zone as we try and keep everything fairly consistent. It tells people about the hot spots that's going on, and we also decide a course of action over the next week. It forces the elected leadership to talk, to communicate, and it really keeps the lines of communication going. It's also a great time, especially during all these past few years, for our benefit reps to stand up and explain what's going on in the world of EI and how to answer a lot of the questions. But those meetings have turned out to be really good, and I wish we started them years ago, but from now on, we're going to keep these Friday meetings going. Also, last year at bargaining, Detroit 3 in the fall in Toronto. I was there for 6 weeks, and one of the biggest committees I was on was the new sub program. We met with Ford, Chrysler, and GM, and we tried to come up with a new sub plan that greatly enhanced what our members are getting. It turned out to be an extremely good program, much more lucrative than it is now. Of course, the goal is still full-time work for everybody, but now it's a much bigger penalty for the companies. We will try to attain exactly that same language this year at bargaining. However, I met with Lana Payne and some of her aides while we were in Toronto and explained to her what has happened to our membership over the past 4 years. She was extremely good about it, and thanks to the works of our 3 benefit reps, Jeff Banks, Stefan Cronin, and Rob Galacci, they gave me all the information I needed, all the files from our members, and gave Lana all the ammunition she needed to meet with the president, because that's what it came to at one point, was just her and the president of GM Canada. But she came through, and we were able to get an increased sub plan for our members over the past year, which got most of our members up to 70% sub. And those that were running out, those in the biggest need, they gave them more weeks of sub. So it was a great way to bargain, even though we didn't have a contract at the time. But our hats off to Lana Payne and all the work she did to help our members out during an extremely difficult time. In closing, I just want to talk about our collective agreement. Our collective agreement is a live document. It guides us on our day-to-day dealings with the company. It states work rules, how much we're going to get paid, our vacation. But there are a lot of times during a contract, just look back over the last 4 years, with COVID to start with, the microchip shortage, the ESA, there are a lot of opportunities where we can do better than what the contract says on behalf of our membership. These are extremely tough decisions that we make sometimes. I was a committee person for 11 years. I understood back then, I was on the bargaining committee, I understood some of the decisions we had to make, but for the past 18 years, I've been your plant chair. There's extremely tough decisions made during those 18 years. A couple years ago, Joe Graves and I signed non-disclosure agreements called NDAs. We sat down with the big leadership from Detroit and Canada, and they informed us our plant was going to close. We had 2 more years to build the Equinox, and we were going to close. They also stated at that meeting that they were looking for a place to put a whole new system, a new concept for electric battery-powered vehicles called the BrightDrop. For the next month, Joe Graves and I spent a lot of time together, and we couldn't talk to anyone else about it. We had a lot of meetings at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get out of bed, and my phone would ring at 3, and it'd be Joe, and he'd be sitting on his couch. Those are very, very tough times. This position is not an easy position. I've got 18 years of experience as plant chair. We have come through some extremely tough times. Right now, those times continue. This is not what everybody was going to think 2 years ago when we became Canada's first electric vehicle supplier. But right now, we've also got some technology issues. The battery plant's coming online. It's baby steps every day, but we are winning. And I thank the membership for that. I've always told, and it's been such an easy argument to convince the Detroit people that the only place to build future products is at our plant. Our membership have answered the call every single time GM has put something in front of us. We do it right, we do it on time, and we do it with the best quality in the industry. That won't change in the future. But for 18 years, I've been leading the charge at bargaining. I've been leading our bargaining committees, and our bargaining committees have been extremely strong. It's a tough job with some very, very big decisions. You have my word going forward that we're not going to wait every 3 years in September to make changes. We're going to look for every opportunity. I'll listen to the reps, I listen to the membership, I listen to any outside agency where I can get information from, always looking to make our membership move forward and try and find full-time work for our people, for all of our members. Please, in June, vote Mike Van Boekel for your next plant chair. I appreciate your support.